We trust that every one of us will get the best from this workshop. Tonight with us to present or to take us in this workshop is an erudite scholar, a spiritual man, a man that has dug a well that is so deep, and we are going to be drinking from that well. And we trust that we are going to learn so much this evening. On behalf of the association, we want to welcome our own daddy, our professor, Professor Olushola Adeshokpe. We want to welcome you to this workshop this evening. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Thank you for your willingness to share with us. As we start, before we bring you to the floor to do the presentation tonight, we want to just briefly commit the training onto the hands of God. We pray that the Almighty God will make it, a great time of learning, and God will grant you deep inspiration to be able to impact everyone. On that note, we are going to start straight away. We are going to be listening briefly to the citation of Professor Olushola Adeshokpe. It is a great honor that I'll be the one doing that tonight. Professor Olushola Adeshokpe is a very distinguished professor of STEM education. He is a professor of educational psychology and an associate dean for research and external funding in Washington State University's College of Education. Professor Adeshokpe is internationally recognized for research that integrates educational psychology with learning technologies, advancing theory and practice in multimedia learning, cognitive load, meta-analytical methods, and knowledge representation through interactive concepts, maps, and diagrams. His program of work has shaped how we understand instructional design in STEM context and has been disseminated in more than 150 peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters. I'm sure we should be clapping for our erudite scholar. He serves as co-editor of Educational Researcher. He is also the flagship journal of the American Education Research Association, and is a frequent advisor to national and international efforts to strengthen STEM engagement. Professor Adeshola Adeshokpe was born in Ibadan, Nigeria, and he earned his early qualifications at Yaba College of Technology and Ladoke Akitola University of Technology, followed by an MSc and PhD in educational psychology. Beyond the university, beyond academics, Professor Adeshokpe serves as Superintendent General of the Apostolic Faith Church worldwide, exemplifying a commitment to leadership, ethics, and service. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to welcome a scholar, an academia, an egghead to this workshop, whose work combines rigorous inquiry with deep dedication to human development. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome Professor Adeshola Adeshokpe to take the floor. Prof, you are welcome. You have the floor now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so very much. That was a very great introduction. Thank you so very much. And also spiritually rich too. Probably one of the few spaces I will be intellectually and academically where people will commit a meeting to the great hand of the Almighty God. That is really impressive. There is hope for Nigeria. And by the grace of God, we know that uh, we have not seen the best of Nigeria yet. So thank you to you all, fine scholars from Nigeria. I am actually impressed about the connection to the Nigerian educational system. I had my primary education at Ibadan, St. Michael Primary School at Apata in Ibadan. Then I went to Apata Community Grammar School, went to Yaba Tech, went to Ladoke Akintola University. So I'm a product of the Nigeria educational system, and so rightly so, very proud of the rich and rigorous system of education that we have in Nigeria. So thank you for being a part of it and for continuing to nurture that educational system in Nigeria. So today I have been invited by our Professor Oyazimu Aluede to come and speak here. Um, I don't do a lot of things like this again. I still do because I'm connected with Nigeria University Commission, with the memoranda of understanding that we signed with six Nigerian universities. Almost on a weekly basis, I speak or communicate with the distinguished Professor Peter Okemukola, whom you all know. In fact, we have communicated even today. So I, even though I might not do presentations like this on a day-to-day basis, I'm connected at the policy level, at the rigorous academic level to the enhancement of the uh, research enterprise in the Nigerian university system. So quite a privilege really to have this opportunity to talk about what I love to do, which is research and talking about research and mentoring faculty and creating spaces for discussions with faculty. So thank you so very much for inviting me, Professor Yaziwu. Much grateful. I don't know if I have the authority to share my
Yes, you
screen.
do. You do, sir. You can share your
Oh,
slide.
okay. Um, let's see. Can you all see my screen then?
Not yet. Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can see my screen. Okay. So today I will talk of building academic visibility online, key strategies for enhancing scholarly presence. A very distinguished professor of science, technology, engineering, and math education. And I have stepping down this summer from being the associate dean for research, because I have other things that I do, which is more spiritual. So I don't, I'm scaling down my academic involvement and taking on more spiritual involvement. So this is a workshop for Research Network and Scholarly Advancement Association members. Thank you for being here. To give you a little bit about my research interest, I actually got my PhD in educational psychology. Actually, my I had an OND and HND from Yaba College of Technology in computer science. Then went to Ladoke Akintola University for computer technology, and then had my master's degree from Simon Fraser University in educational technology because I worked a number of years at the University of Wisconsin-Madison before in the US before moving to Canada. So, and the reason this is very important because we all have stories and how we have evolved. I just wanted to show this because it's part of your story. Think about your story of life where you have all the different spaces that you have been can come together to constitute who you are as a scholar. So, with my computing background, I worked for a number of years at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, developing educational resources for Americans to learn African languages, particularly Yoruba language. Not just only Yoruba, even Igbo, Hausa, Shona language for Zimbabwe, Kekiwa, Chichewa, and many other languages are in Africa. This was a federally funded, US funded center in Madison then. So that brought my technological skills into educational spaces. I began to be more fascinated by the marriage of technology and education, how technology can enhance education. So, for my master's degree, when the Lord opened the opportunity for me, we moved to Canada, and then I started a master's degree in educational technology. And then, as I was finishing that, my advisor moved to the educational psychology program. And for someone coming from Nigeria, it's like, are you crazy? Why would you leave computer science for educational technology or even educational psychology? I took two courses in educational psychology and I fell in love with that discipline. It was more about the theories of how people learn and how can you help people learn. Now coming with my technological prowess and learning about theories and principles that are foundational, fundamental to human learning. Suddenly, I said, this is the PhD that I want to do. So I did a PhD in educational psychology and was privileged to be mentored by Albert Bandura students, Phil Winnie and John Nesby. Phil finished from Stanford University in the early mid 70s and was a student of Albert Bandura, who came up with social cognitive theory. So I had the best of the opportunity to be trained by some of the best scholars who were very much connected with Albert Bandura at Stanford, gave me the opportunity to also go to Stanford for some trainings. Uh, this all came together in all the research interest I'm showing you here. If you look at it, multimedia learning and adaptive systems came from my computing background, and then research methodology, self-regulated learning, um, knowledge representation. How do we represent knowledge? It came from the educational technology and educational psychological training. And then my STEM education, learning analytics, intelligence systems, more recently, artificial intelligence was a direct connection to my background and training in computer science. So why is this important? No matter what you do in life, no matter where you have been, it can help constitute your academic story and the story to be told. In fact, it can make your work even much more visible and credible, which is the theme of this presentation. So I have some relevant experiences, including being a principal investigator and co-principal investigator on about 18 federally funded, mostly US funded grant projects. Two of these projects were funded by the Organization for Economic and Community Development, OECD, out of Paris. I serve as external evaluator on several National Science Foundation, US federally funded, US federal funding agency. I serve as external evaluator on many of the projects that are funded. I work as a panelist for the National Science Foundation and the Institute of Educational Sciences, and very, very committed to editorial work. In fact, right now I'm on either the editor or the associate editor on the editorial board of the top 5 journals in education all over the world, which includes review of educational research, educational researcher, even more technical journals like Journal of Engineering Education. I serve as the associate senior editor there. All of these spaces are also important for creating visibility. To date, I have 185 peer-reviewed journal publications and proceedings have been cited over 13,000 times, H index of 41, I-10 index of 92. I published 3 books, 11 peer-reviewed book chapters, about 130 peer-reviewed presentations at international and national conferences, and I've written 35 technical reports. You can see the Google Scholar projection of the impact of my work from 2019, which is what you want to see. This is where your research becomes visible. When you do a Google Scholar, you can see other people that are citing your work, and you continue to see progression. 7 years ago, we had just about 950 cited my work. In 2019 up to 2025, we had close to 1,900, more than double. So it shows how visible one scholar's work. And this is the projection you see with good scholarship, that when you're an assistant professor or associate professor, you're cited, but not as you begin to develop professorship line and become more international in your work begins to be traction and noticed or gain traction, and then you see projection of citation from other people. These are some examples of some of the projects that we recently concluded. We had 2.75 million educate project, and I will still show this graph. We have made impact across 50 universities in the US with a tool that we developed working with people in engineering. We develop a tool. It's great for your university, but not so great. The grant is meant to help us examine the effectiveness of this tool across about 50 universities in the US. That is impact. People notice your work when you do those type of things. We recently finished a $2 million also National Science Foundation grant on collaborate. It's a collaborative research on how to partner workers with interactive or intelligent robot assistants to usher transformation in future construction. You can see the robot that our team from Michigan built. Michigan is where they make many cars. Ford is there, so they are very much ahead in developing robots. So the University of Michigan, there is very good College of Engineering for robots. So we partner with them. They develop the robot. We built some assessment system and interviewed construction workers who work with the robot. You can see the robot taking a piece of wood frame and slapping it on an ongoing construction, and then examining the effectiveness of robot compared with human being having to do all this laborious work. We have many ongoing projects too, including the Rnsa brownfield type of programming. I won't go too much into that. We have a Department of Defense scholarship, 2.5 billion for teaching cybersecurity education and artificial intelligence. And also, we have 150,000 funded by Boeing as a for Boeing Distinguished Professorship to me, whereby we are teaching secondary school kids computer programming. So very early in life, these kids have interest in programming. You can see how this academic work can just move to and fro and impact the industry. The industry, I showed you about the previous slide for construction workers. I showed you about how this type of work can impact undergraduate and graduate students across the nation with these 50 universities that we had. And then middle school students or what you call secondary school students is also having an impact on them. So uh, our work becomes even more visible and more impactful and pronounced when our program of research can touch on different spaces. We've done a lot of work in math learning, looking at different strategies for math. Again, the field of educational psychology allows me to do things like this because we are not just only studying domain expertise, we are also into methodological expertise, so you can deploy a method in almost any discipline. So my training in computer science and in some engineering training has actually allowed me to cut across many of the science, technology, and engineering disciplines. In engineering education, we published about 25 papers in engineering education, about 15 in computer science education, and math education, many, and in core general education, scores of papers on the use of different strategies that are then making impact in all of these disciplines. This is the desktop learning modules that we developed. Students just read many of these engineering principles from textbooks, and that was, as an educator, I had problems with that. It's like going to my colleagues in the College of Engineering and say, why can't we build some tabletop tools that will teach engineering students how energy flows, how liquid flows in big industrial machines. So this is what happens. This is the principle of what happens even in big, like LNG or Chevron plants in Espravos or Mobil plants. This is the underlying principle. It's so powerful when students are not just reading in the textbook, but they can also do experiments to see, oh, this is how energy flows from one form to the other, or liquid will flow from one form to the other in engineering. And these are all the universities that these two, we've created four of those tools to teach fundamental engineering concepts. This is how they are distributed in different universities, 50 universities in the United States, where they have been distributed, including the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria, where we have been to, and some other universities in Africa, in Ghana, too. What does that do? Suddenly, your work becomes to gain traction, be noticed, be used, be discovered, when you can think beyond just your own university. These are some pictures of the secondary school students writing computer programs, connecting us to the school district, helping us deal with workforce development of the future, also making tremendous impact. This is the guy here talking to you, and a great one. We also have that on the web over online too. So we have two groups. We have those who come to campus that you just saw some of the pictures, and then those who are living far away that we are able to cater to. Some of these students are from Texas, and the training was held in Washington. Uh, Probably it's like you are training in Ibadan. People from Shogoto are also joining the trip. So impact. Now let me conclude. I have given you my workspace and how that my program of research and how the different strategies that we use to really boost our impact. But then, with all these 185 publications, when we publish us off of it, who cares? Okay, that's another thing that we deal with as scholars. Who cares about this? So I'll give you strategies to boost your scholarly presence online. And there are 8 of those strategies that I will conclude with. When you've done the work, secure the funds, you've done the experiment, you've done all the work, and then you even did the greater work by writing to top journals and publishing in top journals. Who cares? Who sees this for you? How can you make this work more visible and credible? Number one, optimize your scholarly profiles. You can create profiles on Google Scholar. If you don't have Google Scholar, I just showed you my Google Scholar. that was the picture that produced that, oh, Shola, your work has been cited over 13,000 times. You can create the ORCID tool for you. It's a unique identifier for each researcher that can track down all your publications. You can use ResearchGate, whereby some of the PDFs of your products or your journals can also be uploaded. You can also use LinkedIn, whereby you are able to interface with even non-academic population. Use keywords reflecting your research when you are in the online space. You are creating all of these things. Make sure you use keywords that align with your research. One other strategy under optimizing scholarly profiles is publish in high impact peer reviewed journals. And I truly understand that not all my 185 publications were in the number one journal in education, let's say like Review of Educational Researcher or the Journal of Engineering Education for Engineering Education, or IEEE Advances in Computer Science Education. No, but I always make sure that every 2 years or so, I have one or two publications in the topmost journal of all of these different disciplines, because those papers are really hard to get through. And then many other ones can be in like a mid-tier journal, or any journal with impact factor of one and above is considered as high impact. So most of my publications are there because again, I want them to make impact. And these high impact journals, they they speak for themselves. You can make all of these do all of these eight strategies, but even if you don't do it because it's published in Educational Researcher, or it's published in a Review of Educational Research, or it's published in that number one or number two journal all over the world. I'm not even talking of Nigerian journal alone. I mean, I'm talking of international journal. You gain traction, you gain visibility. And as an editor, again, I told you I've been editor and continue to be editor of some of the top five journals in the field of education. Anytime you publish in any of the top journals, guess what happens? Within the next 6 months to 12 months, they ask you to review papers for that journal. And if you do a good job reviewing papers, they call you to be members of the editorial board of that journal. And from there, you become editor or associate editor of that journal. That's normally the progression. So if you publish in very decent, high impact, peer reviewed journals, it implicitly puts your work right out there. You want to keep your publications and affiliations up to date on all of these social media, on all of these spaces. That is one way to optimize your scholarly profile. And if you can link your profiles to each other, link your Google Scholar, display your ORCID in your Google Scholar, link it with ResearchGate, with LinkedIn. Uh, it's always powerful. Number two, create a professional academic website. No, in the United States here and in many Western world, you cannot a professor without having academic websites. Even some of us who are, Christians and whatever, we don't like the noise about us, they will make that noise about us, about you. Whether we want it or not, you know what they do? They Once you win the $2 million grant or $3 million, this university picks it up and publishes it very broadly. So, but creating a professional academic website is really crucial in making your work more visible. Include your bio, your research interests, your publications. If possible, link to open access versions of your papers. open access. That's why they are good. They are available for the citizens. Share your project. And I will say very carefully share your data set. There are some journals that actually require you to submit your data set because people can go into those data sets, reanalyze, and ensure validity of your findings. Share media as well. Write blog posts explaining your work as much as possible. Number three, use social media very strategically. And use Twitter, X. You can use LinkedIn to share your updates. And again, as I said, LinkedIn will give you broad professional visibility beyond academia. You can post threads, summaries, and visual abstracts. You can engage with academic conversations. You can use YouTube to explain your thoughts or your papers. Um, you can enhance discoverability of your publications by using strong keywords in your title and the abstract. You can share those articles across platforms. You can notify your institution's press office, especially if you get a paper published in like number one journal in your field. That would be something that a good institution should be able to, the press office or the media office might pick that up and write an article on how does this impact taxpayers. So how can the citizens use findings of this research. You can also track metrics with available tools like Google Scholar, Altmetrics, or Loop. Number five, use open access and repositories. Open access increases readership and citations. You can also self-archive in institutional and funding agencies repositories like the National Science Foundation. When we write, if they give you 5 year funding, when you write annual report of what you have done in a year, there is a possibility for you to upload your articles, your journal articles, your conference papers for that year. Take advantage of that. Upload there. People are reading, people are watching. Your work becomes more visible. You can also use ResearchGate and academia.edu for sharing. Number six, engage in academic communities. Join ResearchGate discussions about something pertaining to your field of work. Attend and share attend conferences, even virtual conferences. With COVID, uh, we never thought, any good thing will come out of COVID, but it did, in the sense that even top academic conferences like the American Educational Research Association now allows you to present virtually, so you can be at Epoma, you can be at Ogbomoso, you can be at Ibadan, or you can be there at Sokoto or University of Port Harcourt or Edo or anywhere, and be part of an international conference about presenting there. And it goes a very long way in making your work visible. You can also collaborate across disciplines. I just showed you some of my work in engineering, in computer science education, in engineering education. Those works travel far. In fact, the over 13,000 citations that people have cited or works that have cited my publications, majority of them are not even in education or educational psychology. Majority of them are in computer science, in engineering, in pharmacy, because of the concept map, research that we do. Nursing and pharmacy is huge in that area. And if you have opportunity to engage in academic community by commenting on the published article in your work in a social space out there, social media, take advantage of that opportunity. However, and I know this, coming from Africa, being an African, we are usually very hard in providing feedback. Internationally, no. please be gracious in providing feedback. I know one of the hallmark of our academic system back home is that the more harsh feedback you can provide, the better you are as a scholar. It does not work internationally. Uh, Always people in the Western world always want you to be gracious. Even if they work as deficit, start by acknowledging the strengths of the work. And also to be successful as a reviewer, take note of that. The international space, they do not value 5 pages of just weaknesses about the manuscript. No, take a page to acknowledge the work. Then take the next page to think about, okay, these are areas where this work could be strengthened. So that is always a good strategy. Number seven, share research in multiple formats. You have published an article, wonderful, where you can create infographics and explainer videos, share slide decks from talks, write public facing blog posts if you are able, make content accessible and shareable. And last but not the least, track. Track your strategies. And for me, I don't use all of these strategies, but I use like 50% of them. And I track and I adjust my strategies. You can use Google Scholar to track or Altmetric to track if your publications are gaining traction in the field. You can monitor websites and social media analytics. You can identify what gains traction, refine your approach over time, and update profiles regularly. Ensure your papers are easy to find. In closing, academic visibility is an ecosystem. Consistency and authenticity, they go along with the matter. Your actions will definitely shape how visible and credible your work is. I want to pause and thank major funders like the National Science Foundation that funded the majority of the works that I have shown here, as well as Boeing in the state of Washington for the Boeing Distinguished Professorship granted to me. And also want to thank many, many collaborators who have worked with me over the past decades to churn out many of those 185 publications that we're talking about. Uh, as you can see, many of these people are my students. I never forget where I came from. And in my time at Washington State University, I have recruited and supported nothing less than 50 African students, some of them on this stream, who are now also professors in other universities in the United States. I feel that's my way of giving back to the country and the continent that gave so much to me. And those of you who are still giving so much to students there in Africa, thank you. Your work is not in vain. God bless you. Thank you so very much.
Wow, wow, wow. This is awesome. Prof, thank you so, so much. This is quite enlightening, deep. You started this presentation with your journey. And for me, maybe because I like biography a lot, linking your journey in life to your work is actually profound. We want to say a very big thank you. Thank you also for helping us to understand that as academia is not just enough writing and writing papers, but there is the need to link what we do to the industry. That is actually the relationship between the gown and the town, bringing practically what we do to lives. Bringing practically what we do to affect lives. And that's exemplified in the projects that you have done. Thank you so much. And giving us how we can become so, so visible. I want to tell you that I've learned so much tonight. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'm happy that this workshop is being recorded. For me, I'm going to go over and over and over again. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Now, the floor is open for questions. I'm sure we have questions that we would like Prof to respond to. Some of these things are easier outside Nigeria. I remember you talking about at least once in 2 years or so, try to publish in very high impact journal. Some of us, many Nigerians have been have been publishing, but I'm sure that some may want to ask some questions because of two major things: funding and the high rate of rejection when papers are sent out to high impact journals. But don't let me preempt people. Please, the floor is open for us to ask Prof questions. If you have any questions, please indicate by raising up your hand, and then you'll be given the floor. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Chenobe. Which university are you from?
University of Delta, Agbo, is a new university that is just 5 years old.
Okay. All right. We need it. We need more universities in Nigeria. Yeah. Thank you.
Much, sir. I'm going to also be asking some personal questions and see what we can do to take it beyond just you giving us a talk during this presentation. But let's give others the opportunity to talk first.
Looks like Professor Selim Nwadi Efesike and is up.
The question.
Good evening, Prof. Thanks for the wonderful workshop and seminar, all of the above. First and foremost, I'm not a professor. I'm just a teacher in a
Okay.
college of education, right?
Oh, which
Um,
is very important. Thanks for what you do.
but I claim it anyway to become a professor like you. It's not easy. However, you've talked so much about high impact journal, high impact journal, high impact journal. My question is this, because when you go online, you will see so many journals. Some will tell you they have 4 point this impact, this other one impact. Now, for one to actually gain visibility, is there any way, is there any attributes? How do we identify these high impact journals? It's
Mm,
just my question. Thank you very much.
thank you. Thank you so very much, my sister. Thanks a lot. Identifying high impact journal in one's field is not a difficult endeavor. In fact, if you tell uh, a generative AI, before I would say just go to Google and say high impact journal in the field of education, it will give you. Or if you tell ChatGPT or Copilot high impact journals in education, it will give you a list of 20, 30 high impact journals. But even most importantly, when you are in that field, you know because those are the things where you mostly read. I mean, when I was in grad school, we read papers from educational researchers. Those are all the big players in education, Herbert Bandura, Brad Zimmerman, that's where they published. If you are in counseling, there would be the major players, those who develop theories, where they published those theories or frameworks. Those are very likely your high impact journals. So when you are in that field and you begin to read papers from the discipline, you get familiar with the high impact journal. But a very simple way is that just go to any AI tool or even Google and say, give me the top 10 high impact journals, and boom, you have it. Yeah. Thank you. Very good question.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome.
The floor is still open. We still have about 10 minutes to go. More questions, more reactions, more contributions.
Oh, looks like Sunday Abubakar has his hand up.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Dr. Sunday Abubakar, please. Can you ask your question while we're waiting for Professor Anuedi?
Yeah, yes, Prof. Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for it's quite timely, and I appreciate your kindness. I see it as a very, very big sacrifice to share with us all these things this evening.
You are welcome, sir.
I am from Sulelanido University, Jigawa State, Northwestern Nigeria. Yes, and by the grace of God, I just stepped into the professorial cadre as an associate professor
Congratulations.
in science education. But honestly speaking, listening to you, I feel that we are not doing enough. My question, please, very quickly, is not to waste your time, Prof. Are you available for mentorship,
That's a
or
that's a
will you refer me to anybody that is less busier than you?
well, thank you so very much. I'm available to help, but my time is also significantly limited, um, for obvious reasons. Um, but you have my email is there in that presentation, which I can share with Professor Aluide to share with all workshop participants. So I don't have any problem if you want to. That was why I put my email there. You can check in with me, if you have any questions. Nuruddin Orobo has his hand up.
Good
Yes.
evening, my professor.
Good evening, sir.
God bless you, sir.
Amen, sir.
I really appreciate your lecture. So it is an eye opener for some of us that are young lecturers, particularly in this part of the world in Nigeria. But
Mhm.
on the issue of the high impact journals, particularly all these the so-called corpus index journals, I discovered that there is a kind of racism. Let me use that word, sir. Racism, because
Okay.
sometimes you submit a paper, they can review it for like 2, 3 times, do the necessary correction, only at the end of the day to tell you that it is rejected. And I think some university in Nigeria now, they always, if you don't have about 5 papers that is corpus index, you may not move from L1 to senior lecturer.
Mm.
But what we have as a problem is that, is there any way, anything that we can do that we can have our own, the African Scopus Index Journal that is localized. Let me use that word, localized. Instead
Mm.
of looking in at from the normal way that, okay, this particular thing, the scope is somehow. I'm discussing something that is Nigeria, telling me the reviewer telling me that it is not that it doesn't cover some certain range, this and that. I'm an African person. What do you want me to write is supposed to be within the Africa. But having done a correction like 4, 5 times, telling you to rejection after 1.5 years. Is there any way, like scholar like you offers, that probably you can help us that, okay, it's going to be a Scopus index, but in an African context? Because if not, we are going to have problems. So
Yeah.
that is my
Thank
question, sir. I don't know, maybe if there is way or something you are doing with other African scholars there in United States, in Europe, that can help us out of these,
Thank,
out of these
thank,
nations.
thank you so very much.
Thank
It's a great concern. Truly appreciate the question. What I would say is that there are some efforts being made, and I know some of these have been led by Professor Peter Kebukola and some other scholars in Africa. There are some efforts that are being made to ensure that African scholarship is not misrepresented. And I can show you, I know, in fact, they were recently they commissioned, like as you have APA for citation guide and standard, they commissioned one for Africa. So I will be sure to take these concerns to some of the Professor Peter Kemukola and some of the Nigerian educational leaders that I have the privilege of working with and counseling and guiding, and also benefiting from the wisdom of the Nigerian educational landscape. I can take this concern to them that maybe we need to start looking at the citation landscape. But I would have to tell you, it really will not be for Nigeria because really we don't want to be like a local champion. It really has to be for, we have to think about maybe for the whole of Africa or even some other countries beyond Africa. Um, yeah, but I hear you. But I will still, as a journal editor, I don't, I mean, I have guided papers from Africa through. It's not the name, it's not the institution, it's more about uh, the quality of the manuscript. So I will still tell you not to give up, but to also keep a very open mind to the feedback that you get when reviewers provide you those feedback. So thank you again, but I hear you and I will take that forward.
Thank you, sir. God
Thank
bless you,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
we have a few minutes to go. Uh,
We we have Dr. Busrevi and Seini Bello, but I can quickly take them.
okay, sir. So, Dr. Semeko, please, you have the floor quickly. Dr. Semeko,
Okay. Thank you very much. Prof, uh, let me say good evening again, and I most sincerely appreciate your benevolence in sharing your biography with us. It's a very great one for we upcoming academics. And if we see mentors like this, it can really, push us off from the African continent. A colleague of mine, Dr. Nuruddin, just asked one of the questions I'd wanted to ask, and you have answered it. My second question is, as much as we have the passion in writing and publishing in those high impact journals, what kills our zeal for us in this part of the world is the funding aspect. You see some high impact journal, they charge you $1,000, and you ask a young academics like me, where do I get that kind of a money from? After you have written, it has been reviewed over and over. The question is, how do we mitigate this, not to kill our zeal or our passion, and yet we tend to collaborate and to find our space in the academic world, sir?
Yeah, thank you. In the interest of time, thank you so very much, Dr. Samako. Yes, you are right. Some charge, but many high impact journals. Again, I tell you, I'm connected to the top 5 or 10 in education, and I know they do not charge even one naira. So there are those who charge, especially if you want to go the open access route, but there are many that do not charge. So I will say look, because you're right. I mean, I won't expect someone with the level of pay and lack of systemic robust funding in Africa. It will be difficult for our African scholars to be able to churn out $2,000 publication fees for open access accepted article. But there are many top journals. In fact, the top 5 or 10 in my field do not charge. So I would say just look for those that do not charge. And looks like
Okay.
there's one more person here signing below.
Hello, good evening, Prof.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I want to sincerely appreciate Almighty God for granting you this opportunity. I just need some clarification. Is it that if I don't publish in a high impact journal, I can't be cited?
No, I have not said that, but I did say that when you publish in high impact journal, your citation rate goes up. Okay, so you can still be cited.
2025 publication, which Google Scholar has. Okay, okay.
You can
Because
you
I have
can
a lot of publication on Google Scholar, but I've never been cited. I don't know whether should I go there, should I go and publish on the Scopus Journal or High Impact before I get cited?
you publish in Scopus Journal, yes. That's important because that's what people recognize most internationally.
Okay,
If there's a journal in your university and you publish, then many people don't know, they don't see, they won't cite. Well, the beauty of publishing some of your work in high impact journal is also very important because it
okay,
puts your work in an international space.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof.
You're
Thank you very much.
welcome.
Yes, I'm
You're
from the North Nigeria, from the Northeast Nigeria, from the Federal College of Education, Yola.
Oh, Yola. Okay, good,
Yes, Adamawa
good.
State.
Adamawa, I know Yola is in Adamawa State. That's
Yes,
where,
sir.
yeah, Atiku is from.
Yes, exactly. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
you're welcome. Now,
Thank you very
I,
much.
I, I will hand over to the co-host, Dr. Chenobe. I don't know if Professor Aluede is there. You called on
I'm here.
him.
I'm here. I'm here. Very much alive here.
All right, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I want to appreciate you for honoring our invitation. And I wish that if we invite you, you will still oblige me. I know you always oblige me. But I know you are very busy. But I have a way of making my request, and you always honor me. I want to say I'm very grateful.
Thank you. It's my privilege, sir.
Okay, sir. We want to say a very big thank you before we hand over to the secretary. We want to say thank you so much, sir. It has been a great time learning under you. As we wind up, I just want to raise one or two concerns from what the questions members have asked, and from what you also know. You are already aware of the areas of concern for researchers from Africa, particularly from Nigeria. We have so much challenges when it comes to publishing in high impact journal. The ones that are free, sometimes they take time, and you might be having the challenge of want of time because of the period of promotion or whatever. So that is a challenge, and you have a little bit addressed that. The other one that is of concern to me again is, how do you bridge the gap between the town, between the gown and the town? Outside there, it is easy to get grants to carry out some projects where you'll be able to experiment theoretical things and principles. But here in Nigeria, it's not too easy. Even though TED Fund is trying to do some things. I remember last year they came up with a TED Fair, or TED Fair has been on for some time. The number of people they will pick for this for third I mean for third fair is always very small. So even if you have a desire to carry out project, funding is actually a challenge. So I don't know whether you oblige this association again, where practically you can help us talk about how we can access international grants on projects, so that for me it is not just about writing and writing and writing of papers. Where we write papers, we publish, and we are not able to impact the society with what we are doing, then it will not be balanced. So I don't know whether in the nearest future you oblige us again to come and take us through a session on how, for those of us that are actually interested in doing things, carrying out projects. I remember the project I put forward for this last state fair. It's a project that is dear to my heart, and it didn't sail through. So I just want to appeal that if we call on you again in the nearest future to come and teach us or to come and help us understand how we can access grants, we'll be very, very grateful. Then finally, in the course of your lecture, you talked about linking a sync of all social media and academic platforms, how we can do a very good sync. I think some of us might also still need some exposure on how to do this sync to be able to enhance our visibility. So the two are my requests, and we hope that in the nearest future you oblige us to be able to come to train us. And finally, even though you are busy, some of us will still want to connect with you further, like you have given us the access of connecting with you through your email. We hope and pray that when we do this out of your busy schedule, you can drop one or two lines that will help us in connecting with you. On that note, on behalf of the association, want to say a very big thank you to you, sir, for the time tonight. I'm sure that for me, and I'm sure for so many others, we will not forget this night encounter too soon. Thank you so much, and God bless you. I hand over now to the Secretary.
Thank you so very much, Dr.
Thank
Chebube.
you thank you very much, Prof. We are indeed very grateful. I'm Dr. Caroline Alodia. I'm the Secretary General of the association. We are happy to have you, and we have learned so much. It's our desire that all we have learned from you, we will put them into practice. Just like the coordinator of the program just said, we need more of you. We're going to invite you to do a lot. You really need to come and cook us. God bless you, sir. And God bless our president for bringing you, Professor Aluede. We are very, very grateful. So please, participants, the video will be dropped in YouTube, and the link will be sent to you. So you will have access to it anytime, anywhere. God bless every one of us. Our president, please, can you round up for us? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anodia. I've already appreciated our friend, our brother, Professor Olusola Adesope. I know he's a very busy man, and we thank God he honored our invitation. I'm very excited that he was able to join us today, spend 1 full hour, if not even more, with us. My prayer is that if we call on him, he will still open his doors. I hope my friend will not shut his doors against us. These are Nigerian upcoming scholars. They want to learn, and there are some of you over there that are endowed to provide that academic leadership for this upcoming scholar. And I pray that you will always be there for us. Thank you for this opportunity. I will look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for having me. Thank you, everyone. I'm very grateful. Thank you for all the work that you do. Remember that you produced me, all of you who are still working in Nigeria. You produced me. That was where I had my foundation that I then was able to build on here. Remember, there are many thousands of people like me still there now that you are training, you are producing. God bless you as you continue to train them with love, with kindness, because one of these days, my prayer is that my students will be bigger, better than me. One of these days, those students will come back and really come to appreciate what you have done for them. So, on behalf of grateful people in the diaspora that you have all trained, I say thank you. And certainly, as much as time allows, I will be glad to be back with you. Thank you so much. Bye.